All right, everyone. Welcome back. It's Daily DVR. My name is Axel. I'm here with Andy. We're going to talk a bunch of TV and film and all that kind of goodness here on a Friday, June 27th, 2025. You can check us out at dvrpodcast.com. You can become a patron like Joe Bear, Joe Bear's mom, Minka Kelly, and so many others who have now be Latoya Morgan, also big patron. Not just kidding. She was on the show though. If you listen to Duster, you'll hear our interview with her. But become a patron at patreon.com/DVR. We truly appreciate each and every one of you, and we love all of you. You're awesome. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing great. Joe Bear's mom is getting a lot of mileage out of this new Patreon. She's getting name checked every episode from now, so good for
She's worth
her.
every single mention. I'm going to take my hat off here for a second. To start off the show. Oh boy. Oh, freedom.
I just leave mine
Ooh.
on because now that we're on video, the light reflecting off my dome
Oh,
will just blind the screen. Nobody will be able to see anything. So
I love that light. That's what I call heaven, a heavenly glow.
yeah,
I
so
actually,
walk
I
into the
just
light,
covered,
Axel.
I just covered this show, The Mortician, with Amy from
Yeah,
Little
how is it?
Miss
I've
Recap.
I've seen the ads. I'm intrigued to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Well, she has another podcast. It's called Murder She Watched, which is an
Yep,
amazing title.
that
Amy
sounds
is the
great.
best. I'm telling you, and she's gonna be like the Bill Simmons of this shit in like 3 to 5 years.
hmm
She's amazing, and she rocks it out. Like we did a podcast yesterday. We started recording at like 1 p.m. That my time, I guess like around four hers, and she was like, "This is my fourth podcast of the day." Like she just rocks them out, man, and she's
Wow.
great on every single one of them. It's amazing. But The Mortician, that episode will be released. Murder She Watched. Subscribe. It was 3 episodes. Could have been one episode, but some interesting stuff. Definitely, we talked for like an hour, hour 15 about it,
hmm
and it was normally not my cup of tea though, because you all know that's like more Heath. I was telling her that Heath, he carries around those dead bodies. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
yes.
That's his other job, and he also loves the death stuff. So my hope
Yes.
and dream is to get them together, Andy.
I'm sure it will happen because eventually everybody comes together on these podcasts that
We
all are on the
got it.
same all the
Yep.
same levels. So,
Well, I think maybe we should ask Amy to be on the top TV shows of the half year. And
oh,
then on the year, we'll add her to our
that would be
group
fun.
of
Yeah.
folks.
And we could use a few more diverse opinions, and kind of
Yeah.
a lot of us have kind of a group think on a lot of stuff at this point.
That's
So,
that's right. That's why I love having Julian on,
hmm
because Julian always brings like anime and different kinds of stuff, and I love that.
hmm
So that makes me happy. I don't know. How are you doing, Andy? How's life treating you?
I'm good. I'm nice and relaxed, and just nice for a nice lazy podcasting afternoon, I
Yeah,
think.
me too. I feel the same way, man. And if you notice, if you're watching us on YouTube, which if you are, thank you. There's not many of you. We have an older audience, and I look at the YouTube and I get worried, and then I go check the podcast. I'm like, okay, good. People are listening to the podcast still. We didn't get usurped by AI yet.
And it only is gonna at some point something we do is gonna get catch on somewhere. So
Yes,
it just happened. We just happen to have to get lucky and see which thing is gonna be. Who knows? But
but I'm the same way, Andy. I'm the
yeah.
same exact way. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll give you an example. Our friends at Double P Podcast Media, okay? Or the Double P Podcast World. Perfect podcasters is what I call them. Um, they are big on the YouTube. They also release most everything on podcast form.
hmm
I will always listen to the podcast instead of the YouTube. Even though it's my same phone, I could just put it in front of me, but I don't pay the extra money to be able to close the phone and
Oh,
have
yep,
YouTube play. But I
yep.
do get YouTube TV,
It's
which
so weird that that doesn't.
yeah,
I don't. That's a huge missed opportunity for YouTube TV
it
because
is.
why would you not give the regular YouTube premium like without ads and being able to? I don't get that at all, especially for what you have to pay for YouTube TV. That should be a feature of it.
It's it kind of sucks because the other thing is that this is kind of techie, but people listening love this, I'm sure. If I search on YouTube TV, DVR Podcast Network, this will come up on my TV. But
Mhm.
then when I open it, it will open YouTube.
It'll open the different app. Yeah.
Inside of YouTube TV. It's like, and sometimes depending on what I'm using, the Fire Stick, PS4, Xbox, I have so many different ways I access it. My phone, it opens it up differently, and sometimes I can tell, sometimes I can't. So
Hmm.
it is integrating the search, and then it comes up. So at some point, they are going to integrate YouTube into YouTube. It's just going to be one thing,
Yeah.
right? And it's going to have like you can have content filters, either like, approved Disney, blah, 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 and creators or no
Yeah.
creators, right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of, it is a little bit, I don't really use the YouTube. My son does. So I
I
can't really blame people that aren't on the YouTube, is
well,
what I'm
I
saying.
I don't use it a ton. I'll use it for a lot. Most of the stuff I'll do is for research, especially like for with the film list that Solo and I do. I watch a lot of film clips on there if I don't have time to watch a whole movie. That's what I use YouTube for mostly, or how to fix things. Like
Yeah.
a lot of my work, I have to fix equipment and stuff, and you can find almost all that stuff on YouTube now and watch how-to videos. That's the main two things I use YouTube for.
Oh, yes. That's the only time. I'm an
Hmm.
old man, Ando.
Yes.
I have zero interest
And
in
I'm a slightly,
that.
yes, less older man than you are.
Not that much,
I know.
motherfucker.
That's why I said slightly less.
It's true. Uh, yeah, it is just a habit thing, is what I
Hmm.
think we're talking about here. So in general, if that integration happened, I'd probably end up using YouTube a lot more.
Yeah.
And I would be, um, those creators would be put in front of me. Now, there's a thing, there actually Matt Bellady on that, The Town, they just did a pod on it. I've yet to listen to it. I want to listen to it today. That Netflix, their next strategy, he's been talking about this for months though. He's been badgering people at Netflix about it, and it's fun to see it actually like happen,
Hmm.
right? Like having paid attention to it,
Yeah.
which is Netflix is supposedly their next big play because they did the sports thing, the ad thing. What's next, right? Supposedly it's creators. It's like a YouTube of Netflix. Did I say that right? Or a net? Yes, a
Yeah.
YouTube of Netflix, not a Netflix of YouTube. A YouTube of Netflix. So basically, a section of Netflix that are people like us, Andy. Like it might be too. It might be
Huh.
probably have better backgrounds than, except for me, because I have a new Star City Murder poster. Which if you,
Yes.
I'm trying to. It's hard to do it this way. There you go.
Yeah, perfect. Very,
Um,
very smooth.
but that's supposed to be their next play.
Hmm. Huh.
What
That's
do you think of
interesting.
that?
I don't know. I mean, would they allow things to be talked about that aren't part of Netflix?
That's the thing is, I don't, it
You
would
know, though,
obviously be really curated, man.
they maybe would because I know you're not a wrestling fan, but like WWE's main show is now on
Yeah,
Netflix every week, Raw,
yeah, yeah,
and they promote things on other networks on that show. So like they'll say WrestleMania is going to be on Peacock this weekend, and it's on Netflix when they're saying it.
yeah.
So they are allowing some crossover stuff. So maybe they would.
That's
I don't know.
true. But that is kind of a tradition in sports,
Yeah,
right? And that is considered a sport,
yeah.
a sporting,
Yes, live sports entertainment, but
right?
live
Sports
programming.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it because I don't know how it would, until I see it, I'm not going to understand it.
Hmm.
because they talk about it, and he's talked about it, and obviously I said I didn't listen to that pod yet, which I'm sure they'll go into more detail. But in the past, he's talked about it. But it's like picking the big people. Like before Mr. Beast went to Amazon, maybe they picked him up and said, "We're going to take your show," or even like McAfee,
Yeah.
right? Like a McAfee. Like that's a good sports guy. We're going to bring him on Netflix and he's going to be live on Netflix every morning at 8 a.m. So kind of program them almost like a TV show
Uh-huh.
because it's live, right?
Yep.
So you have to know, and then they're just streaming from their house. So, I don't know. I would have to see it to see if
And
it will
that
work.
that's probably a better comparison because like is not owned by ESPN. He licenses the shows. That's what
Yeah.
WWE does too. They license the show to them.
Yeah.
It's not being produced by Netflix. So maybe that's what they would do. You're gonna get an email from Netflix one of these days that said $10 million contract to stream daily DVR
Yeah.
daily.
Except you need more light
Yeah,
behind you.
way more. We could upgrade the studios a little bit if that happened, I think.
More light and more hair. That's what they're going to say to me.
Yes.
Um, all right. So I did once again want to mention the Star City Murders poster. Heath, love you, baby. People watch Star City Murders on Tubi. Follow the link. We got a lot to talk about today. And first thing I want to talk about just really quick is that HGTV canceled like 4 shows, all of which were good. There's some political ramifications involved. These shows were all mostly with gay stars or people of color. But in general, we're not going to talk about that part, though I will make notice of it, as I just mentioned it, and I don't like that. But the part I did want to talk about is it further shows like I'm happy that they're making this HBO change because it's
Mhm.
almost like a signal like we're going to protect that, but everything else is fucked. You know what I'm
I did
saying? So
see
like anything you
speaking
like on HBO Max, if it wasn't HBO, don't like it anymore because it ain't going to be there.
speaking of that, HBO actually has a sense of humor about this. I don't remember what I was watching on there a couple nights ago, and they did like a little clip. You know, sometimes they'll have forced ads at the beginning. And there was a little clip from White Lotus with when Walton Goggins returns and runs back to see his wife or his fiance or whatever she is, and on the beach scene, and it's like they do like the HBO logo on it and the HBO Max logo on it, and
Yeah,
it's to like
yeah.
we're back together again. We never should have left, and
But
it was quite
yeah,
funny. But
they have been doing that, but I'm just it's
I think it's a good thing for HBO personally. But
yes, that's the thing that I get out of it is they realized that the thing that they had pushed to the side or they were afraid of being too prestige or right or too artsy or whatever, that's what people love. And that TLC HGTV, like I made a post about this on the Facebook, and even us and this older people, only older people would reply. A couple of my friends are like, "What, HGTV is still on the air?" Like people don't. So
so
I'm a TV person. I know about it. I care. I like these dumb shows,
uh-huh.
but they are gonna, I think that they can be made so much cheaper and they don't care about
Well,
the.
my guess is, especially with the HBO Discovery thing, is I think I mean, number one, it watered down the HBO brand. So people, a
Yeah,
lot of people, and then it also, I think, most of the people that are watching the reality, that kind of shows, don't
right.
want to pay the premium for Max. So you're
That's the
watering
thing.
down both brands.
Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. And that so that I guess these things are going to go back to Discovery Plus or whatever. And
Yeah.
that will, or maybe they'll do a new, that's why they cancel these shows, but and people go uproar and it looks fishy. That's why I say that part looks fishy. But then I do also want to hold off a second. I think to myself, things like this have happened in the past, and then what happens? They rebrand HGTV Plus and they bring back all these shows.
Yeah.
And the truth is that it was just easy to cut these ones first, and then they go after the people who maybe have the higher salaries or have been around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look good, of course, but for HBO, it was a signal that I think people like us who have been watching it were right. That when they did that thing, that was kind of like, we're going to that's the only thing we're really going to protect is HBO.
Hmm.
There even Showtime, they Paramount Plus no longer is called like Paramount Plus with Showtime. They took Showtime out of it too. I don't. It just I don't know, man. It gets confusing, and we pay attention to these things, Andy.
Yeah, the people that don't, you would not. I mean, well, I'm sure you would because you're just like me. The amount of people I know just ask me, "Well, what channel is that on, or what network is this, or what streamer?"
Yeah, yeah.
People have no idea, and they're like, "Oh, it's too confusing," and they don't watch it. They don't whatever
That
the show is. They're like, "I can't figure it out. Screw it. I'll just watch the Twins or whatever
yes,
the thing is."
yeah.
So
You think
it's
about what the average person who is just like, who gives a fuck? Like, I just worked today, and there's I don't even remember the name of that stupid show I was watching. What's that called? What's the
yeah,
channel is it? And then all of a sudden it's on this thing in Max and even don't you have shows where you're like, oh shit, I forgot that I watched that show.
definitely. Every once in a while, something will come up and be like, "Continue watching," and I'm like, "Oh, I forgot I even watched
Yeah,
that,"
I
and it
don't
was
even remember.
3 years ago, and yeah. Well, and I mean,
It's too much.
that's also how we are,
But
though. We watch so much stuff that
but
it's
that's
easy to
why
forget.
we're doing the podcast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I want to talk about, well, why don't I talk a bit? Why don't you pick one of your shows that I may not have seen that you watched one episode of?
Um, oh, that you may not have seen. Well, no,
Yeah.
let's get the news thing out of the way first that you wanted to talk
Oh, okay. Oh, I should say first off that I did advertise only for YouTube. I'll change this for the podcast. It won't be in the title. The Last of Us finale, but we're going to wait for Heath to talk about that because Heath was way into that show. He was like the impetus for us talking about that.
about. Yeah.
So I had the idea just because we promised we would talk about it.
And I think of the three of us, I think I'm the least enamored with the show, so I think
Okay.
it would be a good conversation for all three of us to have.
I love this season. I thought it was so much better than the first season, man. Like so much better. And it was
Hmm.
so weird that the reasons why people didn't like it were the exact reason. Like people were complaining about the season. I'm like, but that's what's great about it. I don't know. But that's what happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Before we actually talk about it, I want to rewatch a little bit of it before we have that conversation too. Because like when you texted me this morning, like let's talk about it, I had to start thinking like it's been a month or so now, so I haven't thought about it much lately. But I'll rewatch a little bit of it again before we talk about that. But we
And
definitely need to
it
do
and it did feel so much like there was more to right. Like it felt like half a season. Actually, it
it.
felt like
Yes,
half that. But that's part of what we'll talk about. But all right,
yes.
let's talk some Bond news, people. In the past, we have been known to talk about the thing known as James Bond. And people have known my opinions on James Bond. Ando is a huge Bond fanatic.
I like to call it this is the Axel Bond roller coaster because it's always it's you're very high, then you're very low, and then you're very high, and then you're very low. So I saw it looks like
I
you're
care.
warming up again. So
I'm back, baby. Okay. First came the news, we all know, that Amazon bought out, they made a deal with the Broccoli's, they now control it. They're going to make a bond, right? We found this out a long time ago. Just like Lord of the Rings. Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Then came the news there was a short list of a bunch of directors. More recently, this was real news. There was a
yeah,
lot of bullshit.
that was like a week ago or so. It wasn't
Right. It
very
was
long.
like but that's all I can really mention because everything
Yep.
before that was actually meaningless garbage that
Yep.
until they actually made Amazon said it was Edgar Wright, Dennis Villeneuve, who else was it?
Edward Berger, the guy who
Edward
did
Bur
All Quiet on the Western Front
right,
and
Edward
Conclave.
Berger,
Yep.
Conklin, and the guy who did Paddington, strangely
Oh
enough,
yes. Oh,
was
that fit.
also in the running.
I think that fit would actually be perfect because
Yeah.
it would he did the first two Paddingtons, which I think are both brilliant, and they've got a great sense of humor. They're very British, and they actually have good action in them. Not, I mean, it's not Bond spy action, but I think he would have been a very interesting choice because he would have brought some of that old humor that really wasn't in the Craig Bonds. I think he would bring it in. So
Ando, for people in the know, the Paddington movies are, as kids today would say, or maybe 20 years ago or 10, low key, like in a lot of people's top 10 movies
Yeah.
of the 21st century
Es-
list. Like,
especially
those are
especially the first
awesome
two.
movies.
The
Yeah.
first two especially. The third one when they switched directors, not as good. It's still okay, but it's the first two are brilliant.
I think that's Paddington in Peru, which was
Yes.
their most recent one, I believe.
Yes, you are
Uh,
correct.
is that onomatopoeia when it goes pa when you do that? When you do like a, or what is that?
That's alliteration, I
That's
think.
alliteration, sorry. Oh, onomatopoeia is when a sound, when you spell out a sound or something, right? Like
Yes,
pew
I think
pew or
yeah,
like
it's
bam
I
bam,
think it
right?
sounds like it's spelled or something. Is that I
It's
English class was never my forte,
it was
so
for me. I was
that's
really English class wasn't your forte? No, I'm
um,
interested now.
I
Let's lean
think
back into
I think
this.
it would have been if I was into the things I'm in now. Like if I was going through high school now, English would have totally been. But at the time,
Really,
I was more into the social aspects of school and the sports and stuff than I was the actual studying in school. So
I was
I'm
such a nerd, dude.
I'm more of a
I was
studier
such a
now than I
nerd.
was then.
Real, that's really interesting. I'm the opposite, man. Well, I guess in my own way, I study things, but man, I was such a nerd, dude. Yeah, I was
Well,
really into
speaking of nerds,
English. Oh, we're back.
the other candidate was Chris Nolan, who was also a nerd. So
Yeah, he was. Was he an official candidate?
yes,
He was.
he was on the list of five. Yep.
Okay, he was on the list of five, but the way I feel about it is this. Having found out the second piece of information, which came out today,
Hmm.
which, and we know that, well, actually, there's two more pieces. They had that list. Then we found out it was yesterday, it would be Denis Villeneuve, the director of Arrival, Sicario, Dune, Uno, and Doe. He will be
Prisoners.
directing
Um,
Prisoners, right, with Jakey Gyllenhaal.
yep.
Also, that very strange film. What's that called? Twins, or what did he do that right after
Oh
that with Jakey?
no, what was the name of that thing? I'll I'll get it in a
It
second. I
wasn't
just can't.
Doppelganger, or was it
No,
Doppelganger or twin?
no, nope.
It was when he meets his twin, right?
Yeah,
And that giant spider
yeah.
also.
The spider was the thing I'm thinking. What the heck is the name? It
Is it with a
is
D? I'm getting
Enemy.
it. Enemy. Okay. Well, I didn't get that right at all.
Yeah.
Enemy. Okay. Anyway, he was chosen as the director, which initially, what was your, let's talk about that. What was your initial reaction to it?
Well, my number one pick actually was the guy from Paddington. I think that would have been a fresh take. Villeneuve, I have loved. Oh, the other one we didn't talk about, the big one he did was another franchise, Blade Runner 2049, which I also think was
Of
an
course.
awesome film. So I mean, I love Villeneuve, Arrival. I love Dune. I love both,
Yeah.
especially Dune Part Two. I'm a huge fan of his. So I'm sure it will be a great Bond film. It will be a great film, I'm sure. I have zero doubts. It may not be as interesting as some of the other ones, but it may, I mean, as much as I love Dune, I can't not be happy about this. Even though I think King, the guy, I can't think what his first, Paul King, maybe King from Paddington, or even Edgar Wright, I think
Right.
would have been a very interesting choice too, because I love
That
his
was my
direction.
pick. That was my pick, Edgar Wright.
Because
I
yeah,
wanted him.
but
Um,
I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, to me, this at least signals that they're serious about making a good film. Whereas a lot of times with Amazon films or Netflix films, I don't always feel like feel a lot of times they're more concerned about the actual just putting content out there and not actual quality. To me, this
mhm.
signals to me that if they're hiring a guy that made the Dune films,
Oh, yeah.
they're trying to make a quality movie here. So I'm happy with it.
Interesting. Okay. I expected a little bit more enthusiasm on your part, Andrew. A little more enthusiasm. I was nearly devastated by this news.
Yes, I know why too, because I
From
totally get it.
now, personally, I was okay. I had a great day with my family, but artistically and podcastily, and movie newsily, I was a bit annoyed because why? I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker who is an amazing director, visionary. if you may say, dare say. The production design is flawless. I was just watching Sicario
Yeah.
and I was like, what the fuck this movie? There's a couple scenes in it I don't really like that are a little bit too much exposition, which I think he was forced to add, by the way. I got to go do some research on that, but I'm pretty sure that they were.
I'm sh That's one I want to rewatch, but I'm waiting until it hits the film list so I can rewatch
Yeah.
it again because that's
Be-
but but all of his films are like that. I mean, Blade Runner's that way, the Dune movies are that way, the costuming, the sound is always amazing in
yeah.
those
Oh,
things.
he's a
It's
perfectionist and an obsessive, and that's
yeah.
what I look for in filmmakers.
Hmm.
He's an auteur. But also, hey, look, Dune is IP, right? He's done other big films like that, like Blade Runner.
Hmm.
So he's shown the ability to be able to work with a large studio and still not lose his creative vision. That's why they hire him, right?
Hmm.
Um, so it was disappointing to me because Bond is something that I have enjoyed in the past. I think some of the set pieces and the action of the Daniel Craig movies was amazing, but they were way too self-serious for me, and I wanted something a little bit more fun. That's why I thought Edgar Wright would be perfect. Another person who has shown that he can dip his feet into, doesn't always work out for him, but he did the Green Hornet, blah blah blah, right? Like he can do stuff. He's been around long enough. He's a professional director. And I was worried that Villeneuve though would then get sucked into
Hold
like
on, who did
a
the Green Hornet? Who did the Green Hornet?
Edgar Wright.
No, he did not do the Green Hornet.
Wait, Edgar Wright directed the Green Hornet with Seth
No,
Rogen.
no.
Or was he gonna do the Green Hornet and he got replaced? Is that was that the story?
He was gonna do Ant-Man. Green
Oh, he
Hornet
was
was
gonna do it.
actually
Wait.
Michelle Gondry. It's actually who made the Green Hornet.
Oh wow. Thank you, Ed. God damn,
Yes.
Andy. I love when you're on this podcast.
No,
So I
Edgar Wright,
got it
I'm a
confused
big
with when he was gonna do
yeah.
Ant-Man and
Yeah,
he had disagreements with Marvel.
yep.
But what did he do? He did do one, didn't he do some IP or
Um
I thought he
not
did.
most of his stuff is original, like Baby Driver, Shaun of the Dead,
I
Hot
thought he did
Fuzz.
one. Maybe okay. I'm wrong then. Then I stand corrected.
Let me
Oh,
see what.
I know what it is. He's doing The Running Man.
Yeah, that's which is coming
That's what
soon.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. Okay, so that's what I was thinking of. Is that he's worked with this studio to do just recently, even then, right?
Hmm.
So that's a good sign. But so I was basically kind of pissed off because I'm a big Arthur C. Clarke fan, and I was hoping that Rendezvous with Rama, which is an amazing book and it would make such a great film. And he is the perfect person to do it because it doesn't need all this exposition. It's an adventure story from the very beginning. It
The
would be
the
great.
the thing with it, I think I mentioned this on our text thread a little bit, but if he makes $1 billion for Amazon on Bond, Amazon will probably give him a blank
Yeah.
check to go make that
I'm
film.
good. That's why I'm good
That's
with it. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? That's why I'm good with it. And also, the news came out, the third piece of news, which is that just a couple hours ago, they said that he's only doing one movie, but he doesn't have final cut.
Hmm.
So
I
I found this to be interesting.
The thing that I like more is the only one film.
That's what I like a lot. That's what I love. I don't
Yeah,
like it. I love it. Now I'm excited for this movie.
because I mean, if they're going after this kind, I would love to have it where he gets one and then Edward Berger gets the second one and then Edgar Wright gets the next one. I mean, I could definitely
Yeah,
see them
yeah.
trying to turn this into a director of the week kind of a thing that they bring in all these superstar
Do it.
directors. I would love it.
Do it. You know what? Amazon literally could have multiple films shooting at the same time with different directors,
Hmm.
and the person who plays Bond would just have to work a lot.
Yeah, and then
And they could
burn them
have
out
all other people. Like they
exactly like they
could,
did with Daniel Craig. Just burn them out completely. It's
yeah. Well, they could, but you see, you don't, that's the thing that I found about those movies, okay? When I watched those movies, I felt like I was burnt out.
well, they're punishing films. I mean, they are.
They
They're
are.
yeah.
They're
I love about half of them, the Craig ones,
they're
but
very visceral.
mhm.
A lot of the stunts are practical
I
and
mean, they
fine
were
hand to hand.
especially those first couple. I mean, they were like Bond is often done, like Moonraker did, kind of aped Star Wars. They aped Bourne Identity. That's what they were shooting for. They were shooting to turn Bond into Bourne. This is what basically what they,
Yeah.
especially the first couple, and that's kind of what happened. So, I'm curious to see which way this one goes. But
Well, you know what? If you look at what I envision from Denis Villeneuve doing a Bond film, I want to go back and watch Enemy again because I did watch it. And I want to watch Prisoners again. And I'm watching Sicario right now. I've
boy,
seen, what's that?
I was going to say Prisoners. Solo and I just covered that. Well, I don't think that episode has been released yet,
No, it
but
has not.
on the film list, and I hadn't watched it since well before I had kids, and I went back and watched some clips from it, and I don't know if I can watch that movie again. It's so freaking intense and almost it's almost a horror film now that I didn't think of at the time. It's so intense. It's I'm hoping his Bond isn't. I don't need my Bond to be as intense as some of his things are. So that's partially why. I mean, I'm still. It's going to be a great film. That's partially why I'm not over the moon for Villeneuve as much as I love the guy. But yeah, Prisoners is such a
Okay.
brutal film. But yeah, anyway, sorry I cut you off there.
No, no, no. It's okay. I want to see the movies that he has directed. And I'm bringing up IMDb right now just to kind of go over all of them
Hmm.
because now it's gonna, I mean, they're not hiring him because they had a writer and they wrote an amazing new Bond movie. And he is the perfect director for it. They are hiring him to create this new Bond in my mind, right? Like
Yeah.
he's directing the pilot for
Yep.
the new season of Bond. So he's going to get from what I understand, right? They're bringing in, he's going to be involved with the writer and the
Yeah.
writing
Hmm.
and the creation of this new world. And that's what they're creating, a whole new world. They have a chance to take this character who has I mean, what do we really know about Bond? He's 007. He's got a license to kill. He likes the ladies, shaken, not stirred,
And
gadgets.
it's way too early to tell too. So like, are they gonna pull stuff from his past, or are they gonna?
I hope not, dude.
That's
I
I would
really
prefer not to, but
didn't they do that enough with that was what annoyed me honestly about the Daniel Craig movies is I don't care about Blowfield or who this person was or that. And then when it was like the home he grew up on and Andy's getting he's about to punch me through the screen.
Skyfall. I love. I'm not 100% on all the Craig ones, but I love Skyfall. I think it's an awesome film. So
I liked the way they did it, and it is an awesome film. But what I mean to say is, I would like something that feels a little that felt very it dragged me down, and I want to kind of be propelled forward by whatever he
the
does.
the thing that I think the film to really look at and his, if you're thinking about Bond, I think is Blade Runner 2049, because that film, I mean, it bombed. But that film felt a lot like Blade Runner, a lot like Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, but it also was doing its own thing in a very cool way. I'm guessing he has some type of fresh, because Blade Runner 2049 didn't feel like a complete repeat of the original. I thought it still was fresh and interesting in a way that also fit in that universe. I'm guessing that he's going to try and hopefully do something similar to how that felt in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I'm looking at his film now. You know, he is Canadian too. Let's
Hmm.
give a shout out to our friend Julian, who is also Canadian. It's the Canadian we know, so he knows all other Canadians.
Yeah, they all know each other, right?
Um, Definitely. I know everyone from New Jersey. But this is his films. He did do his first film was called August 32nd on Earth in 1998. Looks like it was self-financed. It's more of a drama. Then he did a film called Maelstrom.
I've seen Maelstrom.
Okay.
I
What
remember
did you
thinking
think
it.
of
I
it?
remember it. It's been a long time since I've seen. I remember thinking it looked cool, but I didn't really care for it. The one that I do know that I remember is Incendies, which is well,
Right.
that's a few ones down, but which is crazy.
That,
But
but that is the film that made him
mhm,
open doors for him and allowed him to become the director he is, right? Or maybe that Polytechnique, which I haven't seen in 2009,
yep,
which was just before that.
yeah. Those were the two that really
Yeah.
gave him the clout to go do
Yeah.
prisoners and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's right. This one was about Montreal Massacre in 1989. Okay. A
Yeah,
lot of it was
it's
like
one of those films you watch
Rocketman.
once and they're like, this film is amazing. I never need to see it
Yeah.
again.
Okay. It's really interesting because we do think so much of Dune and Blade Runner and Arrival. That's his last four films. So since 2016, well, let's go through them. So that was Incendies 2010, and then his first big movie 2013 was Prisoners.
Yep.
That was followed in the same year by Enemy. And my understanding is that they kind of made Enemy like while they were making Prisoners, and right after it was like kind of a joint
Yeah,
project
it
with
was something like that.
Jakey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a small movie. It's a very small movie.
Yep.
It feels that way too. But then he did Sicario, um, which really brought him
Yeah.
great
That started
acclaim.
bringing Academy Award nominate not for him, but Academy Award nominations and all this other.
Right, which of course written by our boy, everyone's boy now,
Yep.
Taylor Sheridan.
Taylor. Yep.
That was his big
Hmm.
breakout as well, both of them. And when you think of them, you don't think of two people who are, they couldn't be more different.
You wouldn't think so, but you know what? They bring out the best in each other. So maybe Taylor needs to go
They
back
did.
to working with him.
He does, because that was by far his like most streamlined movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, it was amazing. And then of course, my favorite film of
Mine too.
Denise's,
Mine too.
Arrival,
Yes.
2016, which I think is a masterpiece. And we might do something about our top 10 movies of the 21st century, Ando. You think we might do that?
I think that's a great idea. This would be on there for me for sure. This
Me too.
this when I saw this movie, I have certain films for different directors. I think I've talked about this in the film list before too, where I see something and I'm like, I will watch everything that director does from now on. And like Pulp Fiction was that way, and some movies like that where you walk out and you're like, okay, this guy has me for life. This is the movie that did that. When I walked out of Arrival, I remember seeing it in a theater and just I could barely talk for half an hour. It just blew me
Yeah.
away so much.
Yeah.
Such an amazing film.
Um, Arrival is a masterpiece. Then
Hmm.
Blade Runner 2049, which is not a masterpiece in my mind. It is a very good film. I enjoyed a great part of it, but do you feel differently, or how do you feel about Blade
I don't,
Runner?
it's not on the same level as Arrival for me. I still really love that movie a lot because I was not expecting it to be very good at all because I didn't really know why we were going back to that world. And I saw that in the theater and I have not watched it again since. But I know I will be revisiting it within the next few months because it's a film that's coming up on another certain podcast I keep talking
Oh,
about
okay.
coming up very soon. So I will hopefully be watching that one again soon. I remember really, really loving it, but not to the level of Arrival, obviously not.
Okay.
But I still think it's very solid.
Dig it. I dig it. I feel the same. The Dave Bautista part in the beginning,
Hmm.
that's his name correctly, is awesome. And there's a
Yes, it
lot of,
is.
like I said, there's a lot of the film, the look, everything I love. And then we have, of course, Dune part one and two. They're already shooting part three. So he's going to do Dune part three before he does James Bond.
Yep.
So this James Bond movie is a little bit of ways.
Hmm.
But based on what we've seen here, Ando, my hope would be that we get a fast, sleek, very techy, almost futuristic.
Hmm.
James Bond, and that would make me very happy, and I think it would be very cool, and I would like none of the mythology. I would like them to try to create some kind of new mythology or not make me have to understand or take seriously. That's what bothered me with the Daniel Craig. They took it seriously in the Daniel Craig movie, but they're talking about something that happened in like Octopussy. Like I'm supposed to care about that? The movie's called Octopussy. I can't take that seriously. It's too, you can't, like, it's,
Yeah, but
the tone is too different.
it wasn't really direct. Some of those references were odd in some of those for sure, but
That's what I'm saying. It was like, it's too tonally different. Just give me a fun movie, is what I
yeah.
want.
There was before we get off Bond 2, there was one other piece of news that just came out in the last hour or so too, with the from Variety with the front runners to play Bond. Have you seen this?
Oh,
Amazon's
no.
wish list.
Oh, hit me with it, Ando.
There's three names on it. The first one is for me is even though I love him, is a hard no.
Uh,
Is Tom Holland.
oh, hell no.
The second two choices are very interesting. Harris Dickinson, our boy from A Murder at the End of the World, and a lot of others. He was the lead in that, Harris Dickinson,
Okay.
and Jacob Elordi from Saltburn and the show with Zendaya that neither one of us can watch past more than an episode of. Uh, Euphoria.
Okay.
Jacob Elordi, I think, would be awesome. He was like the friend in Saltburn, the one that Barry Keegan
Okay.
fell
Oh,
in
okay.
love
I'm
with.
looking at their pictures right now.
Yeah, I think
For
Jacob Elordi would be
me,
awesome. Harris
one hundred.
Dickinson would be good too, I think. But
Wait, wait, which one is which? Which one's the
Elord,
guy from the end of the world?
that's Harris Dickinson.
That's my boy. Done. 100%.
I,
But the
s-
other
I
guy's
still
good too.
I still want Theo James because I think he would be perfect. But I could live with either one of these two as well. But just because I like Harris or I like Theo James's sense of humor. He's got that kind of smart assy.
He would be more like Roger Moore.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying.
He would be
Danny
more like
Villeneuve is
Roger
not going to
Moore.
do a
Yeah.
Roger Moore Bond. So
Um, I am totally down with the Dickinson kid. He was great in The Murder at the End of the
yeah,
World.
yeah,
Um,
he's been good in
I
a few other
really
things
liked
too.
him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay, that's cool. I like that it's going to be young too,
Hmm.
right? So I'm excited about it. Now I'm excited, Andy, and I will bask in your enthusiasm. We will
We'll
share it with each other,
we'll check back in on the Bond
baste each other.
Axel Bond roller coaster in a few months when the next piece of news
It's up.
drops. That
It's up. And the
there,
final cut thing doesn't really bother me either. Actually, I like it. You know why I like it? Because he's not going to want to do another fucking movie with them if they don't give him final cut. So he'll
yeah,
do one movie. Good.
yep. Well, and we'll wait till like 3 months from now when they say Zack Snyder's coming in as a consulting producer, and then your hype bottoms out again. So we'll check back in on Bond in a few months.
I'm out. I'm totally out now, Ando. Did that just happen? Um, all right. Let me then give a quick shout out to. I gotta hit our list here. Give a quick shout out to something I've been watching that Ando has not been watching, and that is a little thing called Long Way Home. It is on Apple TV. It is a 20-year series, which includes Long Way Up, Long Way Down, Long Way Round.
Was the
Started
first?
in 2004.
Oh, wow, it has been that long.
Yeah, started in 2004 with Ewan McGregor and Mr. Charlie Borman riding motorcycles. That's it, folks. That's the whole show. I love it. It's beautiful. They go on a trip. They leave their family. They ride around Europe into the Baltics. Now they're coming back around. They go from Ewan McGregor's house in Scotland to Charlie Borman's house in the UK, I think it is England, and that's the whole show. That's it. They ride
That's
motorcycles. They play some nice music.
like I told you before we started. I remember when the last season of this came out, and I think we podcast and you talked about it, and I said, "I'm definitely watching this." I'm still
Yeah,
going to say the same thing. I am definitely watching this. I want to see this. I just have. It's one of those ones I always, especially for Apple shows. If I don't make a point to watch them, they tend to get buried on there, and I don't ever see them again, and don't They don't come through my feed, and I need to keep that on my list of things to watch, like my
Yeah,
actual
add
list
it
I have
to
on
it.
my phone.
Well, they have the whole series, and
Hmm.
you can start it off and you can watch them. The At certain times they had a rough time of it. They get into some accidents, somebody gets sick, there's some little that's like little drama, but generally what you're watching is learning about different people, different cultures. They'll be riding and they'll say, "Oh, we were told about there's some kind of weird sport that they're doing." And then they're like riding snowmobiles on a lake, like in the water. And it's like a sport in Finland or something, right? Or
They do
Estonia, wherever
they
they
do
are.
that in Minnesota too.
Oh, okay. Really?
Oh
In the
yeah.
like not when it's ice, like in the water.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, see,
It's
I'm learning.
you really gotta I've ridden a snowmobile over a frozen lake before. I've never done it over open water, but I know people that have done that and
You
do
have
that.
to keep it going the whole
Yeah.
like he explained it because the
Yeah, you
water
can't
goes
stop.
through. If you
Yep.
stop, you'll sink.
Yep.
And they have a special boat that picks up that they built to pick up
Hmm.
the sunk
Yeah.
snowmobiles, right? Like they keep
It's
track of where it
generally
is.
frowned upon in Minnesota to do that, but I do know people that do
Yeah.
that. So,
Well, they do it and
because
it's
it's not
fun.
super safe.
And a lot of it is just honestly, it's just Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman and the two of them. It's like listening to an episode of Around the Couch or this podcast, Ando. It's just
Yes.
two guys that you can tell are bros, right? It's a bromance.
I'm
They joke. It's
I'm guessing you
beautiful.
don't even need to watch these seasons in order, do you?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Not
I
at
didn't
all.
figure you would.
But they are sometimes referential to, hey, he'll be like, "Hey, Charlie, remember when we were?" And then I'll be like, "Yes, Ewan, I do remember." Ah, are we getting a flashback now? And then they'll have, right, like they'll be riding on their bikes and then it'll
Gotcha.
flash back to it, right?
Uh-huh.
That's how the show is, though. It's like Ewan McGregor has the best personality. I've talked about this before, Endo, with Heath, that there's two type of actors, right? Like there's the life of the party or the no personality, like the person who has to take on the personality of everyone
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they themselves are like just
They're a
really blank
blank
slate.
slate. Yeah.
That's what the word we use, blank slate or life of the party.
Yep.
Ewan McGregor is life of the party.
Hmm.
Everywhere he goes, he gets off the motorcycle. He goes, "Hey, everybody, I'm Ewan. How are you doing?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"Holy fuck, it's Ewan McGregor." And
That's
then,
I know I've seen enough like behind the scenes interviews on DVDs and Blu-rays of him talking,
yeah,
and you can just tell he's that kind of a guy
he's
where
awesome, dude. And
if
the
you walked up to him and saw him, he'd have a beer with you or something and wouldn't think
Totally.
anything of it. Yeah.
And smile at you and look you right in the eyes. And the
Yeah.
women, too. It's like the Beatles effect. Like Charlie Borman walks up, who, by the way, is a good looking man to himself and is a worldly guy, right? And he's like, "Hello, hello," and then they're like, "Oh, hello, Charlie," and then Ewan McGregor's like, "Hello," and they're like, "Holy fuck, it's Ewan McGregor! Hi, Ewan!" Like, there's at least in every season, there's some woman who takes a big, it's kind of like a joke, and they just had the episode where this woman like falls in love with Ewan McGregor during the episode, and by the end of it is wearing a Star Wars t-shirt while she's sitting next to him. Like
Of
it's like
course.
it's very funny. But he just takes it and they camp by the side of the road. They'll just you know what I mean? They go to different areas that are interesting. They do get into their bikes and hey, the bike is broken. Let's try to fix it. Or
Hmm.
um it's just like a travel documentary.
Travel log. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes you feel good and it's shot wonderfully. And it's just really throughout the entire thing, they're just celebrating like travel and love. And it's just really positive, is what I'm trying
Hmm.
to say. It's a
Hmm.
very positive thing. So you will one day, I know, you will
Yeah.
tell
Oh, I
me
will.
I'm building some Lego and I just put on the first episode. I suggest you start at the beginning.
I will. I
Yeah,
will.
you'll love it.
Yeah, and I have no doubt, like you said, I'll put it on and within like 3 days I'll be able to watch
Yep.
the entire series.
You will. And anyone listening, do it too, because you'll absolutely love it. And it's a perfect kind of show too, if you're doing other things too, or you just want to soak it in and lay back and look at the beautiful vistas, because they go places that are, it makes you want to leave your house, which is, it's a hard thing to do for to me.
Yeah, yes. Me increasingly as well. So I understand that
Right.
impulse.
So that's what I want to talk about. Long way home. You got one for me?
Sure.
Want to dive into
Let's
something, Ando?
just quick, just since it came out like 2 days ago, and I know you haven't watched any of it. The Bear season 4 is out.
Yes, yes.
I think I'm 6 episodes out of the 10 done, which I watched pretty much all six in one sitting. Um, I still love this show a ton. I know there's some blowback from people that say nothing happens, especially the first 3 or 4 episodes. It's not it's not like the first 2 seasons that were pure pressure cooker the whole time. This is not it's a different show than that now. I think the first 4 or 5 episodes are very melancholy almost, and just more of what I love about the show is the family. That like even though they're not a fan, well, a couple of them are family members, but like the family that they've created in that restaurant and how they interact with each other and
Yeah,
help each other,
yeah.
pick each other up, and have fights and have real human interactions. That's what I love, and that's still what this show is. I think it's not going to win any new converts over, I don't think, but I still think it's very, very solid. I basically there's a extra super long episode at episode 7 that I stopped right before that. That's part of why I stopped because it was like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I can't do a 70-minute episode right now. So I'm gonna finish this weekend, but I'm still very much enjoying The Bear. I know, did you finish season 3? Did you ever watch season 3, Axel, or not?
Uh, Unfortunately, Ando,
I know your feelings about the intensity
it's
and everything
yeah,
else.
I really like this show, but we didn't finish it. And I will one day. I will. And you're telling me all the right things. We finished season 2. We just didn't start season
Well,
3.
and season 3 and 4 are definitely different than season 1 and 2 because season 1 and 2 are they're so propulsive and so much like you're in the frying pan all the time. And there's moments of that in season 3 and 4, but it's much more laid back and is much more yeah, really can't think of the right word. Like I said, almost melancholy in a lot of ways, where you're just kind of hanging out with the people a lot of the time. And so most people that have complained about season 3, and some of them that have about season 4, are saying it's too slow, and it's just nothing happens. And there, through large chunks of the season, there isn't a lot of plot development. It's just people doing their job and trying to live their lives and trying to make decisions about their life. And it's not there's not a fire at the restaurant, or there's not a shooting in the back alley, or like a lot of other shows do to drive the plot. It's very different in that way. I really really like and say if you don't like the characters, you're never going to like the show. That's just anybody that's watching it. But if you love the characters, season 4 is still more of the same, I think. So I'm greatly enjoying it.
Does Carney, our star, Bruce Springsteen,
Yes.
does he get any happier?
That's a big struggle of this season and last season too, is him trying to come to grips with being happy and trying to be
Okay.
happy and getting over his perfectionism and his you don't have to be miserable all the time, and people
Yes,
are
yeah,
actually
yeah.
other
Portrait
characters are
artist
yeah,
bullshit.
other
Yeah.
characters are telling him that. So I think that's going to be one of the main arcs of the whole series. I think it's just
Okay.
him learning to because he and stop being so self-destructive, and he hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it feels like it's a slow turn towards that. So
You know what, Ando? Sometimes in life, you can think something is too beautiful. And to me, almost, The Bear is like that. It is overwhelming sometimes to watch that show.
it
And
totally is.
that's why I have nothing negative to say about
Hmm.
why we haven't watched it, other than to say is I'm not always prepared my life can sometimes be
It's,
overwhelming, and
yep.
I'm not, and I live with my wife whose beauty is overwhelming and overtakes me. Those freckles, baby. Anyway, getting back to it. Um, that I that beauty
Hmm.
is like, it's an
No,
amazing
that's
show.
it is overwhelming. Like I said, but I will say, like I said, season 3 and season 4 are don't have that. I mean, they're like I said, there's still elements of that, but it's not as like you said, overwhelming is a great word for it. The first two seasons are very overwhelming and very much just like you're exhausted when you're done
You
watching
know,
the show.
Ando, when I was in college, I was dating this girl, and it was just like she was too beautiful for me. You know what I'm saying, Ando? I was lost in it. I was like,
Yes.
I'm obsessed, bro. And that's kind of like the way the bear can be a little bit. It's like a little bit too, it activates my emotional state in such
Oh,
a way
yep.
that it's like I am in awe of it too, though, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm like, fuck these, man, I wish I could write on this show, or these people are making something amazing. But I have to say, see, that's why television is a hard thing, right? Because I almost feel like if The Bear was a film, it would have won the Academy Award for Best Film, and they wouldn't have made another one, and people would have learned
Oh
from
yeah.
it in school. But
Yep.
now people are so negative about the show, and I don't want to be negative about the show, but people want to tear down the things they love. That's what America loves to do.
Yeah.
We love to put someone on a pedestal and then tear them the fuck down and then be like, don't, it's a comeback, like LL Cool J said. Don't call it a
Yeah.
comeback.
Yeah.
He's been here for years.
And that's part of why I try to keep I did not think we were going to get a Ladies Love Cool James reference in this.
Oh, well, he's producing the new history of hip hop. And if there's one
Oh,
other person that I think about who's producing this with him when I think about hip hop, it's his co producer, Peyton Manning.
noted hip hop scholar Peyton
Noted
Manning.
hip hop Lothario.
Yeah.
No, that's a different word. I just like saying it. LL Cool J is the Lothario.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, and he actually does use that word quite a lot in his raps.
Yes, he does.
Um, yeah, it's a beautiful show, Andy, and I will at a point
And
go back and
I
watch it.
actually think you might enjoy seasons 3 and 4 more
Okay,
because they are more laid back and there's more just time to kind of soak in the world and just watch people doing what they do and not so much of the say it's not all completely gone, but because there's still some very intense things in season 3 and in season 4 as well, but not to it's not sustained like it is in the first
okay,
two seasons.
okay.
If
Yeah,
that helps.
of course, that fucking fishes episode or whatever destroyed me. And
Yes.
we've talked about it before. I have
Yes.
two quick things to mention, Ando. The
Yes. Go
first
for it.
is my wife and I finally finished watching the first season of Ransom Canyon, which
Of
why
course.
you've been receiving so many texts of Minka Kelly. I first off, there's a scene when she's line dancing, and any person in the world, man or woman or what non-binary, whatever you are, if you enjoy watching Minka Kelly line dance, go to Netflix, go to episode 10, go to about minute 38 or so. I may have rewound it. And you will 38,
You
and
found a way to bookmark on Netflix, right?
yeah, you will, there's just a certain little motion there and you will just play that in a loop in your mind for days. But what a great show. We finished it, and I really have to say, I joke a lot. She's great in it. Josh Duhamel is great. And really, who's awesome in this show is a kid who plays Barbara Streisand's. Here, I'm going to bring up the. You got the old Ransom Canyon cast there. Let's see. Well, see this one. I got to see him to be able to get it right there. His name is Jack Schumacher, and he plays Yancey Gray, and he was in Top Gun Maverick, but he
Well,
hasn't done.
he looks like he was in Top Gun Maverick
Yes, well, the picture that you're seeing right now looks yes. He
on the
was
red carpet there.
in
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Chicago PD and SWAT too, but I don't know how what role he had in there. But I have to say that this guy really impressed me in Ransom Canyon. Marvel should look him up if they want to get some young actors in their movies because he's good. But Ransom Canyon, worth watching. Have you watched that yet, Andy, with your
I have
wife?
not. I have not watched it yet.
Would your wife watch Ransom Canyon?
She might. I could just throw it on and I'll say Axel recommended this and we'll see how it goes.
I'm just saying, you and your wife should watch Ransom Canyon. All couples should watch Ransom Canyon together because it's wonderful.
We should.
And it's a lot of fun. And we need shows like that, kind of CW-ish show, right? Doesn't take too much attention, but's fun.
Yeah.
And I want to roll right into another show, which
Hold on,
similarly,
before
oh,
we get to the next show, we have some comments
oh shit. Oh my God, I'm so
from
excited right
our
now.
friends at Double P Media.
Oh, yes.
The
Uh-oh, I
first
need
one
to
is
mention them.
Obi-Wan is a player, which
Oh,
we all knew that. And
that's true.
the next one was LL Cool J and Peyton Manning as Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin in Deaf and Dumber.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And I'm hearing Bubba's voice say
I
that.
didn't know. Unfortunately, I can't do a very good bubble because that would be
Would your
much
wife watch
funnier.
Ransom Canyon Thursdays on Fox? Oh man, let me tell you something. Watch Ransom Canyon with your wife, people. It's a good show to watch. It helps you. Um,
Well,
Listen,
you
but I
know what?
want to
After
roll.
my wife saw you texting about Kirk Cousins' wife, she might be a
Yeah.
little more hesitant on your recommendations.
Oh, well, you know what? I am proud in my love for Kirk Cousins' wife. I will go on that mountaintop. I will stand on that mountaintop. She is amazing. Beautiful woman and amazing too. Raising all those kids while Kirk's out there breaking his body.
Yes.
She's sitting there worrying. I'll hold you if you're worried about Kirk. Don't worry about it. You'll be okay. But I do want to roll into one more show, which kind of actually reminds me of Ransom Canyon in a way, because it's like the streamers have to make all these shows that we all used to watch because nobody fucking watches cable or network TV really anymore, even though a lot of people do watch CBS. But this is kind of a CBS show, which is Countdown on Amazon with Jansen Eccles, right?
Soldier
That's
Boy
his
is what I
name.
call him.
Okay, I know him for right and Supernatural, right?
Yep. Yep.
Now I happen to know that there is like a cult around these two guys that were in Supernatural. I have never in my life seen. What did he just say? What did he say? Double P. Kirk Cousins' wife got benched for big panic energy. That is true. But I'd still like Kirk Cousins' wife. But I've never seen more pictures on the internet of ladies taking photos at like cons and stuff like that than of the Supernatural guys. There really is like a cottage industry. They are so popular. But this new show is called Countdown. And similar to Ransom Canyon, is like kind of a CW-ish romance, family drama. Um, Countdown is almost like an NCIS SWAT
I thought
24.
I watched the first episode last night.
Oh, you did?
That
Okay,
yes.
awesome.
And I thought it was kind of oh well, like you were saying, Rent, it's almost like all kind of reminds me of Paradise too, where it's kind of this network plus show where
Yes.
it's not quite
Thank you.
streamer prestige, but
Yes, right.
it's very similar to network, but a little bit more enhanced. And like to me,
Exactly.
it felt because like there's still goofy lines like one of the warden's been up my ass all week. I mean,
It's
lines like that. I'm
terrible.
like,
It's AI shit. Yeah.
yeah. So it's but it also has like a super high budget. Like needle drops are like Metallica, who like famously costs a ton of money to put in your
Yes.
stuff. Or,
Yep.
but the
And there's three action sequences within the first like 12 minutes of the
well,
show.
to me, it was kind of like Mission Impossible meets Mayor of Kingstown meets NCIS. Kind of all three of element because there's still some hard beatings and stuff like that, like a Mayor of Kingstown violence kind of stuff every once in a
Right.
while. But there's also that goofy, like you said, CBS writing, but
That's
also
why it feels like that to me.
yeah.
You're
So
right. Yeah, you're
it's
right,
a
Andy.
strange it's a show that after I watched the first episode, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna since there's so many shows right now, I'm gonna pause on this show. If I hear good things about it later, I will go back and get into it again. But I I liked it, but I didn't love it, if that makes sense. And it is what you said.
Yeah.
It's like a network plus kind of show.
I thought it was awesome. And
Hmm.
the reason why I thought it was awesome is because it knows exactly what it is. It moves fast. That guy is great in it. Jansen Eccles. He's just like a sarcastic wise ass. and they don't spend too much time on. I mean, there is some backstory and stuff like that, but it doesn't drag down the show or any of the
Have
exposition. It keeps it
have,
moving.
have you watched all the episodes that are available?
No, there's
Oh,
three available. We only watched one so far.
okay, that's all I've watched as well. That's I was wondering if the
Okay.
action is like that the entire like if there's that much action in every episode or because the action is pretty awesome. There's no question about
Yeah.
that.
And that's a great part of it too. Car chases and cool. Yeah, I thought I was really impressed by the show mainly because when you look at the poster, that is the show.
Yes, it is for sure. Yeah, it
And
was it's a
if you like Reacher, if you
mhm.
liked Bosch, if you liked any of that Amazon type CBS-y, like you said, Network Plus, then
Yeah.
this fits right into that. And I love those
And
shows.
I'm kind of it may have gotten for me too, I threw on right after I'd watched a couple episodes of The Bear. So it may have I may not have been in the right mood to be watching that show. So I'll go back.
No,
I'm gonna wait and see what you say and I'll
Ando,
go back
come
to
on.
it. But
Ando, that's like you saying to me, I had a filet mignon and then my friend walked in with a Big Mac.
that's true.
So it's kind
You're
of
right.
hard to tell how the Big Mac tasted. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's a Big Mac show, but it's very fun. I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised because I am too often the
Hi.
shows kind of bog themselves down and
Hi.
get too serious. Hey, buddy, Dez is on the pod.
Yeah,
He's
put
gonna
these on, brother,
listen.
and you
All
come here
right,
for a second.
here he comes. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yes.
How are you doing today?
Good.
What have you been watching any TV lately? What have you been watching?
Bobby.
Oh, Bob the Builder?
No.
Bobby Hill?
Bobby
Yes.
Hill? Oh, King of the Hill.
Yes.
You like that show?
Yes.
Who's your favorite character?
Bobby.
What are some of the funny things he says?
He runs around naked.
He runs around naked?
Mm-hmm.
That makes you giggle?
Yes.
Yeah, that is funny.
All right, bud.
All right, that was totally worth it.
That was he was adamant he needed to say hi. So
Well, that was awesome. Well, we
so
were done talking about Countdown anyway. It's
we
a
got a little
fun
bit
one.
of what he's watching. So yeah.
Yeah, Bobby running around naked.
Yes.
Um, what you said you watched Ironheart, Andy. I have not checked this out yet.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and it's fine. It's
Yeah.
it's another one of these Marvel shows where you can tell that they've just were like we need to get more content out and it's not bad, but it's also like huh, I don't love it. It's fine. Will I go back to it? Only if people at the end of it say this was amazing, you should finish it, then I'll go back. But it's a laundry folding show or with dishes doing the dishes kind of show. It was fine. That's kind of all I can say. I can't really say anything bad or good about it. It's middle tier Marvel. So I wish I had more to say about it, but it just kind of the commercials. If you watch the ads, it's basically exactly what that is. At least first episode was. Maybe it'll change after it gets because I know there's
Yeah.
some. I think there's some magic that comes into play later, so that might make some more interesting things to go with that. But we'll see.
Yeah, I have to say that I don't know. I'm waiting for the Fantastic Four, which looks like a lot of fun,
Hmm.
and I'm eagerly awaiting the integration of the X-Men and the new Avengers movies,
Yep.
but I don't really think
Well, and
I'll check this one out.
the thing with this too, it's been on the shelf for a while, and I loved Thunderbolts, so I'm actually still pretty high on what the future of
Thunderbolts was
Marvel.
very good,
I thought that was great, so I'm still kind of excited about what's coming for them, but this show is not, I don't know. It didn't
but
I
that's
doubt I'll go back.
okay.
Yeah.
Andy, I think that's the thing too, is like when you tie everything together and force people to watch something, and then some things are not as good or are meant
Yep.
differently or have a different tone, like the She-Hulk show, which was one of the weirdest things ever made on television. I still don't, what, he had a son and all of a sudden he shows, I didn't even understand that show. It was crazy.
I loved how crazy it was.
It was
So because
crazy.
it was so different than
But
anything
that's
else they have
good,
done. But
right?
yeah,
That's
for
what I'm
sure.
saying. But you
Yep.
shouldn't have to watch that show to understand all of Marvel.
Yep.
So I like that they're moving away from that.
Hmm.
And like they're even saying, like with this iron, oh, it's if she shows up later or whatever, they'll explain what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's so it just doesn't look like it's for me. You know
Yep.
what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
kind of what I that's kind of the vibe I got from the
Yeah,
first episode. I was
that's
like,
cool.
it's fine. And it's like I'm like, I'm sure there's gonna be people that are gonna love it. But it's like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So that's really all I needed to say about it. It's fine. It's not terrible and not it's watchable. I guess the faintest of recommendations, I guess.
Um, there was you did want to mention Light and Magic season two.
Yes. So this, if people have maybe don't remember this, it's on Disney Plus, and it's basically behind the scenes of Industrial Light and Magic. And I know when we talked beforehand, you thought the first season was a little too corporate and yes, Manny and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which I agree. Season two is only 3 episodes, and it's the direct, I don't remember if he did season one or not, but Joe Johnston directed season two. And Joe
Oh,
Johnston,
okay.
who was like, he directed Captain America, the first Avenger, and
Yeah, yeah.
Rocketeer, and worked with George Lucas. There's times like during this where him and George Lucas actually start arguing on camera, like new interviews where like Johnson is like, "Why did you make Jar Jar Binks so goofy?" And like he was ruinous to the movie, and George Lucas is like, "Well, people love C-3PO, and he was funny. He's just as good as C-3PO was." And Joe Johnston, like the reaction on his face is like, "Are you kidding me?" And like there's times where like Frank Oz gets pissed off because he's talking about how when they changed Yoda from digital to or changed him from being a puppet to digital, and like he's always supposed to be a puppet, and just cool little where there's a little more they show the warts a little bit more in this season, so I thought it was really kind of
Okay.
and
Interesting.
and how they made a huge mistake. Like a lot of the business, one of the offices they had to shut down, and a big reason was because they turned down Avatar to work on Rango, which Rango is a great animated film, but Rango nobody talks about that, and Avatar, whatever you think of those films, are that would have kept that studio in business forever. So
Yeah.
it's a fun if you like behind the scenes stuff, it's kind of fun. And there's a funny line of George Lucas calling Yoda the illegitimate child of Kermit and Miss Piggy, which I had never thought of it that way, but that's how he kind of came up with that. I thought that's part of why he wanted Frank Oz to do the voice. Just a lot of little nuggets. If you're a special effects nerd, it's a fun little 3 episode fun watch. So that's I just wanted to mention it.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes these big corporate things, they just say, "Oh yeah, let's do another season of that," and then they don't really pay attention
Hmm.
that they're gonna do something like this for the, and they can get away with shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and
oh,
it's
Joe Johnson wants to do it.
And this one's more about the prequels, which we've talked about the prequels
Interesting.
many times. And because like the first season was more about Star Wars, Jurassic Park, like the T2, I think they even did some stuff with like the heyday of those that are all kind of seen as great films. Whereas the most fun thing about the prequels is talking about the prequels and how flawed they are. And
Yeah,
they kind of go into some of that stuff. Like there's a bunch of stuff with Ahmed Best in this where he talks about some of the reaction to what's going on. And I think, like I say, I don't think Disney really cared about this anymore. So they kind of let them talk whatever they want.
yeah.
So
I like that. That's
yeah.
cool, Andy. Okay. That might be something I'll throw on one night. I dig that. I dig that. Maybe I will throw that on. There was also, oh, I should mention that I have been, at which point you will not care at all. But oh, we got a visitor again. This kid's on your case, Ando. Oh no, he's climbing. He's
Yep.
climbing.
There's a chair
Oh,
back there, so
he's in his chair.
he's in the
Okay.
chair.
He's good. He's good. Up, up, up. He heard you talk about him, so he's out of the chair.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said anything. Shit. Um, I know the rule is just ignore. Just
Yes,
ignore. He'll
just
be okay.
ignore.
I'll watch him. I'll tell you if he gets into anything. Well, oh, wait a sec. Okay. No, he's okay. I can't see him anymore, Andy. Can't see him. Where's he going?
He is I think he's attempting to play with the Lego
Oh,
Krusty
okay.
Burger that I just assembled
Okay.
last night. So,
Well, you can put that back together.
yes.
That's cool.
So,
Um,
yes, what do you have next?
The thing I was, oh gosh, I forgot now. I got so involved there. I got sucked into Love Island, which is a reality show. But
Of
I'll talk
course.
about that with Gina and Jenny. I won't
Okay.
bother you with that. I
Okay.
got sucked into it. I will just mention it that we will. I put that on because Gina and Jenny and I are going to talk next Wednesday. We're going to talk about um, the ultimatum Queer Love 2, which just premiered on Netflix last night, which is a follow up to the ultimate, obviously, part one, season one, which was probably one of the best reality shows that Netflix has ever done. It was both dramatic and interesting. The people were interested. It's really fun.
Hmm.
But next Wednesday, and we'll also talk about Next Gen NYC, which is a show that always gives you a giggle when I tell you it's the children of the women from the Real Housewives. I love seeing your face when I say this. It's their children with their other friends who are 20 something trust fund babies running around Manhattan. It's awful and beautiful. There's nothing beautiful about it. It's all awful, but it's very fun. And let's see, what else do we got? I think.
We have a question from Double
Oh,
P Media as well.
oh, okay.
It
Let's hit
says,
it.
what do you think of the release schedule of Ironheart? The first three episodes are now available to watch, with the next three airing next week or arriving next week. So they're kind of doing the Andor thing with three episodes a week.
How many episodes are there total?
I think there's only six or seven. There's not many.
Hmm.
I'll look that up. Let me look.
I I
You
don't
know
know.
what? I loved it. I loved that schedule with Andor because I
Well,
thought
it
it
made
worked
sense.
perfectly. Yeah.
It made sense because you were really they were dropping a movie every week, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
exactly right.
so. For this,
We've
I don't know if that's what they're doing or they just want to get this into the library already, you
Yeah,
know?
there's six episodes.
And they want to spend less marketing on it because one of the things is that the longer something is airing, the longer that they feel obligated to market it. And not only that, but sometimes it's in the contracts of how what that they'll do a
But
certain amount of marketing or
at
something.
the same time too, though, if you have it over 6 weeks, that's 2 months worth of subscriptions.
That's I know I'm just trying to come up with a reason
Yeah.
why they would, right?
Uh,
Like I think it's an either or situation and they will
And you
do
know
it
what
and try to experiment with it.
it might be because they want to get it all out before Fantastic Four comes, and so they can concentrate everything on that too. I don't know.
There you go.
I
There you
said
go.
I like that I like that structure when it works well, like it works or when it
Yeah,
fits.
I
Like for
agree.
Andor, it was perfect. I thought.
You know what? I'm open to almost anything, and I think because if you take into account the show itself, right?
Hmm.
Like there are certain shows that when they drop the whole show, I'm like, this is perfect because this show, you don't need a week to week on this. Then
No.
other shows they drop week to week, and I'm like, I'm good. Like I'll give you an example I mentioned before, Reacher. Just drop the whole series. I mean, the whole season. I don't
Yep.
need to go week to week on Reacher
Yep.
because some of the plots, come on, it doesn't really make sense sometimes. It's just a fun show. And in order for me to remember who did what or what, just let me watch a bunch in a row. So I think Amazon sometimes does do like maybe they'll do 2 episodes or 3 episodes. So I kind of like that
Well, yeah,
because
that's what isn't that what Countdown did? Didn't they do three right away?
yeah, it's like a mini binge, right?
Hmm.
It's like, so I kind of, maybe this is setting up that mini binge. Maybe they can use this as a experiment
Yeah.
because you think about in a weekend, if you're old folks like us or you're a kid or something, you got a weekend, 3 episodes is that's still a lot. That's a lot to watch of
Yeah.
television in a weekend,
Hmm.
but you could do it and you'd feel like, ooh, I spent the weekend with this show or something, and you remember the brand, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
right? So there's your answer, Double P. What do you got to say about it? What's your opinion? Hey, I'm going to say something that Double P often says. Who cares what we think? What do you think? What's your opinion? We're
That
just
was
some dumb hosts here talking on the show. So come on, tell us, Bubba, what do you think about the
that
release
was
schedule of Ironheart?
that was brilliant.
There you go, because I love those guys.
Yes, I do too.
Next up is You watched the first episode of Smoke. What did
Yes,
you
last
think?
night. Have you watched any of this yet or not?
No, but I'm so excited because Blackbird was one of my favorite shows of a long time. I love that show, and it's the same team.
Yeah, a lot of the same team. I thought it was good. It didn't quite grab me, but
Okay.
it
You watched one episode.
just one episode, and there is multiple of the episodes of that available too, I think. I
Okay.
think there because it did say play next episode, so because
Yeah.
it just came out a couple days ago, didn't it? Or yesterday even?
I think this two or three is the new, maybe a lot more people are doing that now.
Yeah. I mean, something Taron Egerton, I'm always kind of like
I,
I
oh,
mean, yeah,
really? I love him.
I've liked him in some things and other things I'm like, I don't
What didn't you like him in?
I can't
The Kingsman movies or what was it? Isn't he in those
yeah,
movies?
yep, he's in the Kingsman. And
Yeah.
looking at his stuff, most of the stuff I didn't yeah, Blackbird, I haven't seen Rocket Man, so I guess I don't know, something about him just I don't always click with. I don't know why
There's
that is
three
either.
episodes of Smoke too. Hey, you know what? Bubba brought up something good. Look, that's three shows that are releasing three episodes.
Yeah.
So is this the new thing? Oh,
Oh,
the
it also
second episode of
yeah.
Smoke is when something drops and it starts to make sense, according to Seppenwall.
Oh, well,
Okay, I was gonna say give yourself more time because this is
yeah.
not a show that I expect. Like Blackbird was like that too. You got into it, it sucked you in, and you were like, this is such a world, this is so high quality
And
that
it feels I guess it feels like I know where it's going already, which isn't out, but I need to give it more time. There's for sure. I will still watch because
maybe that's what Bubba's talking about.
the production is definitely, I mean, very high quality, and
I'm sure.
it feels a lot like the movie Backdraft. I mean, a lot like the movie
A
Backdraft.
classic.
So and it maybe at the second episode, whatever this big thing is, maybe that will completely recontextualize the whole thing, which I would actually like that a lot. That would be it seemed kind of paint by numbers isn't quite the right word, but it didn't seem very. It seemed
Okay.
like it was one of those things that's very well made, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. A verdict is still out for me on Smoke.
All right. What you're trying, maybe you're saying it didn't differentiate itself from a lot of the other prestige
Yes,
TV out there,
yes.
but you do have to give things a little time too. And I'll quickly throw in a show which falls under that rubric as well, which is The Better Sister on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon.
That's one I want to watch. I
Um,
have not watched that yet.
it is surprisingly fucking good, and it does. You think it's going to be the paint by numbers, but what it does is it subverts a lot of that stuff to make it more interesting. And at the heart of it is the relationship between it's Jessica Biel and what's I forget the
Elizabeth
other
Banks, isn't it?
Elizabeth Banks, right? Who is fantastic in it.
I've
And
always loved Elizabeth Banks. That's the reason I want to
yeah,
watch. I'm a
she's
big
great.
fan of
And
hers.
Jessica Biel is really good in this.
Hmm.
She's really good. She's been good lately in her little mini series that she's been doing.
She's a Minnesota gal. Of course she's good,
She
Axel.
is. Well, I remember her back in the days on that TV show. What was she? What was that
Seventh
show?
Heaven.
Yeah, that was one of the heavens for me when I was that age.
Yeah, she took you
Um,
to eighth heaven.
there you go. Is she the Body is a Wonderland one, or is that
No,
Jessica Love
that's
Hewitt?
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah.
No, that Jessica
Well,
Biel is Mrs.
oh,
Timberlake.
it's Mrs. Timberlake. That's right.
Yes.
She's Justin Timberlake's wife. She's trying to do a lot of work now. He's out of favor with people. For some reason, people
Yes.
don't like him anymore. I don't remember why, but
We don't need to go into that. We're not
I don't
TMZ,
even
the
know. I'm
podcast.
too old.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm too old for that. But I do know that she's great in it. Elizabeth Banks is great in it. And it does surprise you. You're like, oh, wait, I thought it was going to go this way. And then it goes that way. And by the couple episodes in, their relationship, it's funny as hell. Like some of the shit they say to each other, they just rank on each other and they go at it. And it's not like the music plays and you're trying to get all dramatic. No, they are vicious to each
Well,
other.
and that's,
And it's funny.
Elizabeth Banks has a lot of roles where she's very good at yelling at people and
She
making
is
fun of them and
really
going
good at
at
that.
people.
Yep.
So,
Yep. But anyway, that is a really good one. That's a good one. I would definitely suggest that to people,
Yes, I will.
to give
I
that a
will.
try.
That's definitely on my list to do. And yeah, I just one last thing about Smoke too. I should have realized it's an Apple show. I need to give Apple shows more time.
Yeah.
Always need to give Apple shows more time. So, anyways, sorry. We can continue with Better Sister. I'm definitely going to watch that though because I like I said,
And
I
that's
love that
because,
cast.
Andy, I think Apple allows the creators to make a world and they give
Yep.
them another season. They give them more time.
Yeah.
And they sometimes to their detriment, some of the
Hmm.
shows aren't that great, but some of them turn out really well and really interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know we're both looking forward to the next season of Foundation, which is coming
Yes.
up pretty soon. That's going to be
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. That's
I
in a couple
cannot
weeks.
wait.
Yep.
Yes.
July. Yep.
Foundation. Yes. So exciting. Um, there's something that we both watched, though I didn't watch all of it, and I believe you did, and it's Hulu's Predator animated movie called Killer of Killers. I only watched I think it's, is it three parts?
Three
Three
parts.
20
Yep.
minute Don't even tell me what the last segment is because I don't know. So I won't say, let's do no spoilers for this.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just do very vague talking about this particular show because one of the things that I enjoyed about it is that I didn't know what time period or
Well,
what they
I
were
think
kind of setting up.
the one thing we can say I think is it takes place over multiple time periods,
Yes,
and it's kind of an
yes.
anthology where
Right.
it's
It's the predator comes to Earth and fights people at different
different
times,
times. And I'll say that the third segment is
countries.
my favorite segment. I think the third
Oh,
segment is the best segment.
I'll watch it tonight then. It is, I'll
Yes.
just say enough. Maybe after we watch the whole thing, we'll do a spoiler segment on it. Okay,
Yeah.
Ando? Because
Yeah.
I want to talk more about it. But it's so worth watching. Andy, take those discs, those DVDs from your son. What the hell's
Actually,
going
that's
on?
not DVDs. This bucket
Oh,
was full of Lego that is now on the floor. He's been building
oh,
behind us. So
okay. Well, listen, do you want to wrap this up? I think you might have to do some daddy duty, buddy. I think
no,
you
I
might
think
need some
we're okay.
attention. Are you sure?
He just wants to see your face, I think.
Oh, okay. I want to see his cute face too. What a cutie.
Yeah, I think it's if you're anybody that's a Predator fan should watch it. It's a
Yeah,
good it's really
it's really good. And it's
it's
so
really good.
fast. It gives you the thing I like about it is that when the segments start, you're like, maybe I've, like you said, maybe I've kind of seen this before, or like I'm in this time period again. But they kind of quickly move through it and introduce the predators really quickly.
Yeah.
So it becomes that game more so than the time period,
Yes.
like predator against prey. And that's the
Uh-huh.
fun part of it.
Yeah.
So you're like, cool. And the action sequence, I brought Lachlan in. I paused it and I was like, Lachlan, come here. And he was like, what, dad? You know, because he's a little teenager. What do you
Yes.
want, dad? And then he sits down and I go, watch this. And they start fighting. And he was like, oh, shit. And he was like,
And
can we watch the next one?
the action in the third one I think is it's they do stuff that I've never seen in a Predator anything, so I really enjoyed that. And I also the other
Okay.
reason I wanted to watch this is they're dropping hints that they may be tying in the Predator series to the Alien series. And since we're going to be talking about Alien in the near
Yeah.
future, I want to and there's another Predator movie coming out, I think this fall in the theaters. So also by Dan Trachtenberg, who did this one. So
Yeah, that's the one when the predator is the antagonist. I mean, the protagonist of the movie. It's like a mutant predator.
hmm
Did you saw the trailer, right?
yes, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks awesome.
and there's like when one of the people closes their eyes, they've got Weyland Yutani logos in the actual
Yeah.
thing, and yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
the
greatly looking forward to
eyeballs.
it. So
Yes.
yeah, that one was a lot
Well,
of fun.
those worlds most famously came together in the Image comics, right?
Hmm.
Back in the
Or
day.
was it Image or was it Dark
Was
Horse? I think.
Oh, maybe it was Dark Horse. Okay.
Yep. Oh,
Um,
Grandpa James says he enjoyed with a big arm flex too.
nice. Awesome. He enjoyed what?
I think Predator. He
Predator?
just said I
Okay.
enjoyed it. I'm thinking it's either Predator or Smoke, but I just saw it now, but I'm guessing it was Predator.
Yeah, the Predator one. That was really I want to watch the other one. Um, but
Yeah,
I
it's
kind of want to watch it like at night with the lights turned out, and that's
yeah,
why I want to be. Lachlan's had his friend over the last couple nights, so I want to have it be like everyone's asleep. I can put on the old earphones,
yeah.
ear pods, just
That's
watch it.
That is exactly what I did. So
Yep.
it was late at night. Well, nobody, my wife is not a Predator fan, and the boys are a little too young for that yet. So
And the good thing about the action too is that it is like an adult anime. Well, it's not animation, and it's not too over. It's not like loud and annoying and like
no,
it's like
yeah,
sleek and cool, and it's you can see what's happening the way they
yeah,
draw it. It's very well done.
yeah, it has a little of that anime style, but yeah, it's not that overwhelming that anime has.
Yeah,
Yeah, James said yes, Killer of Killers. So yes, he was a
that's
big fan of
awesome.
the Predator one too. So
Cool. I think that's all we got, Andy.
oh, you know what? I wanted to say one other thing because I've only watched the first episode. Have you watched all of Department Q yet?
So this is what happened. We started, and I want to shout out Kevin Centazzo
Hmm. Gina has
because
also been beating the drum for it
Gina's
too.
beating a drum for it too. These people really like this show. I watched the first 15 or 20 minutes and I loved the show. I turned to my wife and I was like, this show's awesome. And then I promptly fell asleep. This had nothing to do.
That's a ringing endorsement if I ever
No,
heard
but it
one.
had nothing to do with the show. I was really tired that day. I have my foot's been hurting me.
Oh
I pulled
yes.
some muscle in my foot. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. But so we're going to go back and watch from that point on. But I think it's great. I love the characters, the setup, the mystery. I thought everything was cool.
Well, the I've only watched the first episode, and of all the ones I've watched, just one episode of it, this and Ironheart and Smoke and Countdown in the last week and a half. This is the one I'm going to go back to first.
Yes.
I thought this was
Yep.
awesome. Just that first episode, at the end of the first episode, I'm like, oh, I love the end, like the
Nice.
last 5-10 minutes where you kind of figure out what it's going to be, and the first episode almost feels like it's a prequel. So I'm very excited to get back
Okay.
to it.
That's
I
what I
absolutely
felt.
loved it.
That's what I hope. That's kind of the feeling I was getting at, like of something
Yeah,
bigger building up, and that makes me excited.
yeah.
It reminded me of one of those shows. The last time I got this kind of feeling is when I watched that show Bodies on Netflix. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yes, yes.
That I just felt it created a singular world that I immediately felt was fully realized,
Hmm.
and I just felt
Well,
like I
and
was in good
the
hands.
thing I didn't realize about this till after I watched it, and I started since I knew we were going to talk about it today. I was like, I'm going to look a few things up. I didn't realize who the creator of this show is, and it's a writer that I absolutely love, but he doesn't do a lot of things. He was the creator and writer of Queen's Gambit, Logan, the X-Men movie Logan with Out of Sight, which is one of my favorite movies. He did the adaptation of Minority Report. I mean, Scott Frank, and I have loved a lot of his stuff, so that got me
Yeah.
even more excited. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where
Uh,
I'm going back before I finish any of these other. Well, I'll finish the Bear, but then Department Q is right up there with it because I'm 100% in on the hype on that already after one episode. So
Tonight, uh, I'm thinking, my wife and I probably going to watch a couple more episodes of The Ultimatum because that show is so fun. We'll chat with each other and watch that. I do want to watch Department Q. This weekend, I think tomorrow we're going to watch Sinners, which I
oh,
have
that
not seen. Did you see it?
I haven't yet. Doesn't that it's HBO like on the 4th of July, right?
It does, but you can get it on
Oh, you can get it early.
Amazon, and we have
Well, and I'll
some
probably
coupons and
I'm probably
such.
gonna I'm gonna try and finish the Bear. I'll go to Department, but I'm probably gonna try and watch Squid Game before all the spoilers get out and get
Oh
spoiled.
yeah, that's right. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that on my own tonight. My son said to me at breakfast, he's like, "So I watched all of Squid Game last season." I was like, "What the fuck, dude? You watched it all last night?" And he was like, "No, Dad, I watched it this morning." I was like, "That's not any better.
Well, that's I
You
I
watched
woke
the
up
whole
at like
thing."
2:30 in the morning last night and saw a notification on my phone. The final episodes of Squid Game are here, and I'm like, do I turn my TV on or I didn't turn it on, but the just wait, buddy, I'm almost done. But yeah, so I don't know what I think I'll do Squid Game first, but
Okay.
and before I forget, we've got a couple more comments from Mr. John
Oh,
Wambacher this time.
oh, John, I love John.
The first question is, are you planning on podcasting on Foundation? And Axel, would you recommend the Foundation book series?
I don't think we're gonna
Well,
podcast on
I
Foundation. Do
know
you, Ando?
we talked about it for last season, and I think if I remember right, what we came to was neither one of us had the
Why do you
has enough of the deep background on the books to
Yeah,
feel comfortable doing it.
exactly. Yeah, because I read the first book when I was much younger, and then
Hmm.
I listened to a good part of it again. Um, and the story itself, would I recommend this series? I'm not so sure. I think the first book is very interesting, but it's also a lot of different stuff happens. It's a lot different from the series. There's things they bring into it, but
Hmm.
they also kind of had to make it into a series. And even when I listened to the book more recently, I was kind of like, this is pretty difficult to make into a series.
Yeah,
They
that's
did a
kind of
good
what,
job.
because I started reading one of the books and I was like, oh boy, I need to devote a lot more thought, and it was very meaty from what I remember.
Yeah, yes. So, unfortunately, but we will talk about this season
Oh yeah, for sure.
on this podcast.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure we'll do other random ones, or maybe we'll tack something onto the end of one of the Alien shows because it'll probably still be running at the same time as Alien. So,
Ooh, Alien Foundation, the new
hmm.
podcast from the DVR Podcast Network.
Ooh,
Where
crossover.
Heath, it's a well, maybe Heath will leave, and that does Heath watch Foundation?
I
I
don't
don't think
think
he
so.
watches
I
it.
don't
I
think
don't
I've
think he
ever heard him
watches
talk
it.
about it.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do it. It's like around the couch when you we do
This will be the love seat segment.
the love seat. Yeah. We'll do
Foundation,
a love
yes.
seat segment just where we'll talk about now John's giving us good ideas because it's sci-fi goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's total crossover. Most if you're watching Alien, you're probably going to be watching Foundation.
yeah, and vice versa for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
how
Or you
could you
should
not?
be.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
definitely
no
should be.
kidding.
All right. Well, Des, you're going to get your dad back. I had him for almost 2 hours, and I appreciate it very much. You're a great kid. We love you very much. Ando, any last words?
I don't think so because I got to go and clean up a giant pile of Lego that is now strewn upon my office floor. So
Well, that sounds like fun.
we'll probably end up
That
building for
sounds
the
like
next
fun.
hour. So
Yeah, there you go. I'm probably going to do the same. I got to get some lunch and figure out what the hell's happening with my life over here. But maybe I'll just go
perfect.
look at some more pictures of Minka,
Yeah.
make myself feel better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Des, Ando, and Axel say bye bye.